Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this special episode of the Shift with CJ podcast. Why is it special? Because on this podcast, you've always heard me talk about ways to accelerate human performance, consciousness, and well being. We've tried things like methylene blue, pulse electromagnetic field therapy. We've talked to neuroscientists, scientists, doctors, but I have never shown you or taken you on a journey with me to explore the unknown. Why the unknown? Because in this three dimensional reality of space, time, and matter, there are bigger things that can influence our lives. And to understand this further, I have Janvi Gaur on the show. Janvi, welcome on the show.
Hello, CJ. How are you?
I'm amazing. How are you doing?
I'm very well. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And the reason I have Janvi on the show today is because she is a world famous astrologer and a tarot card reader. And I'm sure she does a lot of other things like Chinese astrology and a lot of things that I cannot remember right now. But I will let you explain. Janvi, please tell us.
First, thank you for such a grand introduction. And when you say world famous, it seems your world is very small. I'm not that famous. It's got 7.5 billion people on the planet, but I'm getting there. So I'm into Vedic astrology, born in a psychic bloodline. So it runs in my bloodline. We are all a bit of psychics, and intuition and
Mhm.
sixth sense was very strong. But I guess I was the only one in the family who took it to a professional level and really explored my entire bloodline and my calling and my soul purpose. So I started doing Vedic astrology over 25 years ago. And I always, like when I started it, I just knew that I know this. My soul
Mhm.
knew it from many lives. It was effortless. It was coming to me so organically and so naturally. And then I started with tarot card reading, Chinese astrology, Kabbalah astrology, SRT, which is spiritual response therapy, Vastu Shastra, name it. I mean, it's a one-way traffic.
Mhm.
You get into it once, and there's no U-turn. You can't get out of it, and it's so interesting. And the universe is so vast. And when you just learn so much about it, and you know so much about it, then you actually realize that it's actually so little.
Mhm.
It all comes from a seed. When a seed can create a massive tree, and the tree goes everywhere, and it has so many branches and leaves, and then finally the fruit comes, and back bam, in the fruit you find the same seed.
Mhm. So that
So
revolves back to the circle of life.
circle of life, it's just everything goes back to simplicity,
Mhm.
and the value of zero, like nothing. Knowing everything is equal to nothingness.
Wow, amazing.
Yeah.
Knowing everything is equal to nothingness. I love that. And when you said that you came from a family of let's call it extraordinary people,
All right.
and do you think where you are right now is because of being in the bloodline, or is it that normal people, like people who are not coming from an extraordinary family or from a lineage of people who have these abilities to, whether call it intuition or sixth sense or something else, does that make you even more like, um, does that make you jump more into the whole realm of the unknown? So do you credit that to
See,
your?
I definitely credit my DNA. There's no doubt about that. If
Mhm.
you are a born psychic, I'm telling you, there is no doubt that there is going to be a lineage about it.
Mhm.
Okay, there is. You cannot be, you can't be born in a family who is completely ignorant about these holistic sciences.
Yeah.
There is going to be a DNA, there is going to be a bloodline, like how we have a special skin color or hair color. The other people
Mhm.
from different countries have different features because you cannot look like somebody if you're not from that lineage.
Mhm.
So it's exactly like that. The soul calling, the soul purpose is also like that, for sure. It's somewhere in the lineage, it's somewhere in the bloodline, and of course, I give a lot of credit to that.
Mhm.
And as you said, it's like, yes, from the outside world, it feels it's extraordinary, but having said that, I've never felt like that because I've just been born with it.
Mhm.
It's just a part of my life. I've always lived with it. So of course, I'm always a bit surprised
Mhm.
that why. I mean, I'm sure there are so many extraordinary things you have in you which I just cannot even fathom to do ever in my life or even understand. So like that, I guess we all are born with some extraordinary
abilities.
abilities, and they are always so fascinating to somebody else. I mean, there's I think I'm far more challenged than anyone, because once you know the universe and you know the signs of the creator, or these, it's, you know, it's very difficult to understand the true dynamics of this planet then.
Hmm.
Like something which is too close to you, you can't see, but you can
Okay.
always see something too far. So when you're able to connect with something so vast and so far, trust me, it's another challenge to survive.
I know, just like they say, with great powers comes great
I
responsibility.
guess it's not only responsibility, but then when you're always in the, of course, the responsibility is huge in our profession. It's
Yeah.
huge. It's like humongous, and you cannot break the code. But when you're like, what do you do when you're absolutely able to understand how Jupiter is running and what are the rules of Saturn and Venus and everything, and you're like, what's happening on Earth? Like that's where
Wow.
you're totally lost, but you're
Mhm.
surviving. You have to coexist on Earth, knowing all these fellows. So I guess the challenge is that, as I was just telling you about before I started our show, was so people like us just fake it here. We fake it till we make it.
Yeah, that was quite interesting. And when
Yeah.
you say this story, one of the things that I remember is that every time I'm on a dinner table, whether I'm with my friends or mostly with my friends, and they're always asking me, "Oh, why aren't you eating this?" Because I'm sometimes picky. Why aren't you eating this? And why aren't you eating that? And why are you having your coffee this way? And why are you having this way? And why are you exercising this way? And everyone keeps telling me, I wish we knew more about nutritional science, biochemistry, molecular biology, things like that. And I always tell them, guys, knowing a lot, it might look like it's nice, but honestly, I just wish I didn't know
Yeah.
about different biological pathways and I could eat whatever was there on the table just
Yeah.
like you guys.
Yeah.
So I mean, maybe it's not, your world is much more complex than mine, but when I look at things, I have all of these thoughts running in my head when it comes to food or exercise or sleep or
I hear
nutrition.
you. I hear you.
And yeah, so anyone who's listening, guys, you might think that it is really fancy to do it, but trust me, once you're in there, and when there are like 1,000 thoughts going in your head, and while you're just sometimes seeing people not even care, you're just like, oh, I wish I could do that. But at
Absolutely.
the end of the day, you also know that your role or your purpose or your dharma on this planet might be in a different direction to what others
True.
have.
I mean, there's a reason there's a saying, ignorance is bliss.
Mhm.
So clearly that bliss is missing from our life.
Yeah, and they also, one of the things that I someone told me once is like, the lesser you know, the better you sleep.
Absolutely, absolutely. And as I said, the journey is always from, from nothingness to knowing everything, and then back to nothingness. It's
Mm,
always the the science or the fact of a zero is so, the power of a zero is so strong. I mean,
mm,
so even if you know everything, I always tell people, whether it's their fame or their knowledge or their information or their money on or everything it is, I
mm,
mean, just enjoy it, but don't believe in it.
mm.
That is where you start losing yourself.
Is it because nothing in the world is, the only thing that would be constant is change?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Don't believe in it.
Mhm.
You know, just enjoy everything. Enjoy today. Live in today.
So be in the moment, be
Be in the
present.
moment, live it, and whatever it is, even the information I have. For example, I know about these planetary position. But as a matter of fact, no matter how much I know about Saturn and Jupiter and all the planets and the nakshatras and the stars and everything, but I should not lose the fact, and I should not lose the sense that I am living on planet Earth.
Mhm.
You know,
What happens if you lose that sense?
that's when people will start calling me cuckoo, and that's when you become a fanatic person.
Mhm.
Have you seen fanatic people?
Yes.
Their belief takes over them. Their belief takes over their right of experiencing things on planet Earth.
Mhm.
You can still be as ignorant as you like, with all the information that you've got. And
Mhm.
that's the way to balance it out. That's the beauty. That's what creator plays with us. That's what he does with us. I mean, he wants to see how much the information comes to us, or knowledge comes to us, for us to get even far more uplifted,
Mhm.
evolved.
Yeah.
But if you get lost in that,
Mhm.
or if you completely lose your own self in that and become so fanatic about it, that is where, I mean, it
Things start
it
going wrong.
backfired big time.
Okay. Now, sometime back, you mentioned that you've learn things about the Kabbalah, the Chinese zodiac, so many different things. And when I look at all of these things, these are ancestral or ancient practices that have been either designed or observed or created in a way to go beyond the ordinary. Let's
Hmm.
just call it that way.
Absolutely.
And in many different languages, and there are different things. The Mayans have their own things, the Chinese have their different things, the Hindus have their different things, and we have different names for it. We call it the chi, the prana, the spirit,
Yeah.
but they all tend to look in the same direction of the light,
The light, the source.
the source, or
The
the
source
light.
is always the light. Yep.
So, how does a person who's listening to this now, and now we're looking at people who are probably listening to this podcast and they hear something from your Instagram and then they go somewhere else and they see a person doing some feng shui, or they go somewhere else, they travel to a different part of the world and they look at some medicinal herbs like ayahuasca or something. So, how does a layman navigate through all these different forms or ways or paths to go to the same spiritual light?
I'll tell you, so it's a very interesting question. And the most interesting thing I always saw, whether it was Vedic astrology, Kabbalistic astrology, Chinese astrology, or many other different forms of astrology, numerology, and they all actually, they are so beautifully interconnected. The planet, like, because when I do a reading, I'm seeing a planetary position. The first thing I do is open the Vedic chart of the person in my phone, and I swear, and that very minute my numerology calculation is also going on in my head. I'm like, this is the Chinese astrology and this is the Chinese animal. They all are absolutely same at that time
Wow.
for that person. So I can just say there is absolutely no virus in the creator's system. Absolutely not. Everything is interconnected so beautifully. They all actually go to the same thing. I mean, if Kabbalistic astrology only talks about your soul calling,
Mhm.
and you'll be very surprised, having 7.5 billion people on the planet, we only have 12 purposes between the 7.5 billion of us, and different careers, professions, ways of making money. But the soul, for it to reach to salvation, the paths are only 12 paths. That's why we have 12 zodiacs, 12 signs, 12 Chinese astrologies, 12 Kabbalistic purposes. We all are in that. So we all are very deeply connected with it.
With this 12.
We are just extended out.
Mhm.
Vedic astrology is, of course, something which happened a few million years ago. God only knows, there's no calculation
Mhm.
when it actually started.
Yeah.
Kabbalistic astrology and, Kabbalah, Aramaic, and all that started 5,000 years ago, and then Chinese astrology. But they all are so beautifully interconnected. The numerology and all, it'll all always, the mathematics will all come to the same conclusion.
Mhm.
And I actually have practiced that for years. I like to actually go with all of it. When I open a chart or I hear a date of birth, it's like, you know my brain naturally in the next 5 minutes has done all the calculation of all the different astrologies and numerology.
And this is one of the other reasons for people who are listening. I wanted to have Janvi on this show today because she is absolutely achieved her degree of a master. When you have people who have gone through all of these disciplines and been practicing them for all these years and touched lives of hundreds of people, you achieve the status of a master. And thank you for doing all of that. I just wanted to say that I
Most
really
welcome,
appreciate
most
that,
welcome.
everything that you've done in this world, and you know learning from you and the audience hearing our conversation makes such a big impact
Yeah.
is because you have walked that path. You have been in all of those years trying to do the same thing, and that naturally shows because everyone who's listened to your Friday readings or
Yeah.
ask me questions, 90% of everyone that I know, they were like, oh, that was so right for me this year, which we will be talking about in a few moments. But okay, so everyone goes through these 12 things. What are these 12 things about? Are these like 12 dimensions of reality that
12 dimensions of reality, 12 different natures, 12 different energies, and there are 12 different paths to reach the creator. The magic number is 3.
okay,
Like, if you will see, even in Vedic astrology, we have, of course, 12 planets, and everybody has, the zodiacs are
yeah,
12, Chinese astrology is 12. Then we have nakshatras. which are 27. They are
What are
also
nakshatras?
nakshatras. I'm going to explain you. It's a different form of, when you're born under a particular, what I would say, zodiac in
Mhm.
Hindu mythology, which we call Rashi.
Mhm.
Well, like if you're born, as you said, you're born on 27th of January. That
Yeah.
makes you an Aquarian in zodiac, in English
Yeah.
astrology, okay, zodiac. But if you open your Vedic astrology, we see where your moon was at the time you were born.
Hmm.
So when you're what time you were born, we'll see which house your moon was. Then we'll say you're born in this Rashi. You could be a Libra Rashi or a Leo or a Cancer Rashi. And at that time, which nakshatra was your Rashi activated in? Then we see that nakshatra is a constellation of stars.
Hmm.
So at the time you were born, your planet was passing through which constellation of stars? Now that's important. Also, Vedic astrology is too vast. I mean, there are millions
Yeah.
of, like, you can learn it for gazillion years and you'll
Hmm.
still keep
Hmm.
learning it. Okay. Now, when even in nakshatras, there nakshatra in Vedic astrology, we consider it as a bull. It's like a bull. Now, when we were born at the time of Satyug, when it was all Satya Yug and everybody, that time all the four legs of the nakshatra were activated. So we would know exactly what a nakshatra is
Hmm.
supposed to do. But then there were yugs kept changing. After Satyug was another yug. That time three legs were activated. After that there was a yug, two legs were activated. But in Kal Yug, the bull has only one leg activated.
Hmm.
So in Kal Yug, astrology is the most important, because when we see your Rashi, then we see Rashi entered in which nakshatra from which leg.
Okay.
Okay, now all four legs have different purposes:
Hmm.
dharma, kama, moksha, and about business and maya
Yeah.
and all that stuff.
Sure.
So in that, then we have to see the nakshatra. Now, in Hindu astrology, nakshatra actually decides what's your true soul calling and how you,
Hmm.
because the soul is always craving to go back to the creator.
Okay.
It wants to get rid of the
Human.
cycle
Yeah.
of birth, death. It always wants to get rid of it, and sometimes it takes a few thousands of years, thousands of lives, different planets, different dimensions, different, you know
So, does that mean that every time we are born and we die, our whole soul's purpose is to go to the Creator? And to go to the Creator, we must pass through these 12 dimensions or 12. We need to go through these 12 roles or
it
12
depends how
energies.
no it depends how soon we understand our soul calling. I mean, sometimes we take, I don't know how many hundreds of lives on different dimensions, this dimension, to actually understand. But if you
So,
are at all in this life, if if your soul has been so massively seeking for it, you will find those people who will open your, whether it's astrology, Chinese, is that, and they will guide you the path towards light.
mhm,
Now, once you know the path towards life, again, it's your choice to take as many lives as you like to walk on that path.
mhm,
You understand? But it's not that difficult. It's not, people think, oh, renouncing is the only way to reach God, but that's
mhm,
not the truth.
yeah.
It's absolutely, we are on the planet of Maya. We
Mhm,
are on the planet of illusion. We are on the planet, the only planet which runs on money.
mhm,
So you're actually supposed to, this is the way, only way to reach Creator, I think, on this planet, is to fulfill your calling very happily,
okay.
without any guilt, without any fear, because fear is one of the energies which will never let you fulfill your purpose. That's for sure.
So you're saying that people who are listening to this show, if and we know in the past 2 years with the whole thing that there have been lockdowns, people have lost their jobs, there have been other unseen things that have happened to people's life. One of the biggest emotions that have come up recently is fear and uncertainty. So do you think, and people, one of the things that I have notice about fear is that people start getting fearful about something, but fear by itself gives people a lot of energy. In the scientific way, we will say that fear increases body's stress hormones called cortisol, and cortisol by itself dumps a lot of like blood glucose in the body
Hmm.
and gives you more energy. And a lot of times what happens is people get addicted to that fear, so they're always revisiting the fear cycle again and again, because
So then they create,
yeah, then they're always roaming
inventing,
around
creating, coming to new
and
conclusions,
being fearful
evolving.
about what's going to come next. Maybe it just started with a small thing, maybe it was a small trauma, maybe it
Hmm.
was a small trauma with a capital T or a small T,
True.
but in the end they have learned how to revisit that thing again and again. So if anyone who's listening to this, and I'm sure that people are who's listening to this podcast have experienced fear in some way or the other, and especially in the past 2 years, what is your piece of advice, or what can you tell them that they can sort of like break that cycle and look at the world with more hopeful eyes and not look under the whole fear thing?
Actually, what happened is this whole thing, what we are going through for last 2 years with COVID-19 situation. Of course, this is the fear is huge in this purely because we all got entangled in it. It
Hmm.
was 7.5 billion people sleeping one day, and they wake up and like we all are in it. It has never happened, so it's an unusual experience.
Hmm.
Honestly, I'll tell you, whatever we are going through thanks to COVID-19, it's because the creator played a very funny game and everything. I mean, we're first time in a thing like maybe after World War I, World War II, that we are in it globally.
Altogether,
Everybody
yeah.
is thinking about one thing.
Mhm.
Okay, so for starters, it's pretty funny. I think
Mhm.
it's really hilarious.
Okay.
And I'm like, if we take it on a note, okay, we all are in it for a reason. So let's just, my attitude towards was always was, let's not be scared about it.
Mhm.
There's a reason we all are in it. So let's first definitely follow the protocol.
Mhm.
I don't believe in being a rebellion without a cause. I think that's also a waste of energy.
Mhm.
Where people are fearful, they are a rebel without a cause and all.
Yeah.
That is where you stretch the agony, and that's how you just have to very smilingly accept it. Acha chal, abhi war hota hai. So we
Mhm.
we do that, right?
Yeah.
You have lived here all your life.
Yes.
I think by the year, with the year you were born, we had Gulf War,
Yeah.
because I was a teenager that time.
Yeah.
We were in it all together now. Then we followed the protocol, right?
Mhm.
Just because you can see the enemy, you hide in your house. But what about the enemy you can't see, which is
Mhm.
COVID? But you still have to follow the protocol, and that is when and astrologically also I had made a lot of videos on that. It always happens. See, just see the record. Every 30 years we are globally into something, because Saturn comes into dignity every 30 years, and he does this. 1990 we had Gulf War. 5 years, what not happened in India,
Mhm.
everywhere,
All over the world.
all over the world.
So are you saying that Saturn is like what?
Saturn is a planet of karma, right?
Okay.
He's a planet of dignity, karma, righteousness,
Okay.
and very, very strong.
Mhm.
Like, he's the strongest. He's the only one with a ring around him. So, after every 30 years, when Saturn comes in dignity, and when I say dignity, he comes in his own house. Okay,
Mhm.
now Saturn moves on each zodiac in every 2.5 years. He's a very slow moving planet. He's the slowest.
Mhm.
That's why in Sanskrit his name is Shani. Shani in
Okay, so
Sanskrit
Shani
means
is
slow.
Saturn. Okay.
Shani
Yeah.
means slow.
Mhm.
He used to walk so slow that his mother named him Shani.
Mhm.
Because in Sanskrit you say Shanai, Shanai. Shanai, Shanai means very slow, very slow.
So you're saying that the planet by themselves are an individual identity, and
Absolutely.
they're
And
living a
in
life
yeah,
where they're
and in
moving.
Kalyug, we all live by the rules of Saturn, because he's the only planet of karma.
Okay.
And Kalyug is all about karma. Okay. So when Saturn comes into Capricorn, now Capricorn is his own house. He's the ruler of Capricorn.
Okay.
So he goes dignified, because
Mhm.
if I'm in my dignified,
Yeah.
right? In your house, I'm on by your rules.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll create a fuss, but more or less you'll
Mhm.
ground me and you'll say, "Shut up! You're
Yeah.
in my house. Okay, you're a guest. I'll pamper you sometimes, but more or less the rules are mine."
Yeah.
But when Saturn comes into dignity, that means he comes into Capricorn for 2.5 years. He's the king.
Mhm.
Then after Capricorn, after 2.5 years, he goes into Aquarius. Aquarius is also his house.
Oh my
So
God,
back to
I'm
back,
from Ecuador.
yeah. So back to back, he's 5 years in dignity.
Yeah.
Back to back 5 years he's in dignity. So when he's five, and no planet ever goes through that. All the planets have two, they are the rulers of two houses, but none of them have two together. Like Jupiter is the owner of Sagittarius and Pisces. In the middle, he has 5 years of Saturn. So even if he's dignified when he's in Sagittarius, or he's dignified when he's in Pisces, but he goes through Capricorn and Aquarius in the middle and breaks the pattern a bit. But Saturn
Mhm.
doesn't break the pattern. He's 5 years there.
There.
He's running the planet his way. That's why he'll always surprise. Every five, see the history. 1990 to 1995, 1960 to 65, 30 to 35. Go through the world history. You
So
will always see. I mean, it's the planet is completely out of control. No human can control it, and the most unusual experiences are on our way.
So which year are we in now of the Saturn?
We are just going to, it started on the 20th 24th of January 2020, so we haven't even finished 2 years.
Okay.
So Saturn is dignified till 2025 January.
Mhm. And is there any way that we could be friends with Saturn?
Absolutely, it's a planet of karma.
Okay.
He's decided protocol. Just follow the, and it's actually for our highest good. Whether the masks have come, less socializing, how much FOMO had increased in these,
Mhm.
how many young teenagers, the maximum cases of suicides and depressions have happened in the last decade. And from very, it's, they all have been from these young kids with FOMO, with this, that. How much he has taught us that you actually can be alone with your family and absolutely safe and fine. He is trying to shift our consciousness.
Mhm.
He is trying to shift our lifestyle into a much healthier way, where you're not like a, you know what do you say, like you can't be an unguided missile, right?
Mhm.
And that's where, I mean,
That's where
especially
problems will start.
see the last decade.
Mhm.
I swear, I have met people of my age also, and I'm like, people have been literally, their whole focus of life has been who invited who, what, where, who
Yes.
went where. I have
These are
had,
first world problems, guys.
yeah, I have had people calling me in lockdowns and said, Janvi, I have no idea what my son likes to eat. The son is 14, 15. I don't know what to do with this kid at home. When the most maternal, the beginning of your life, it is from the womb, right?
Yeah.
And that's when Saturn showed the reality. Everybody is locked down. You have your kids to you, the kids have their parents to themselves, and the parents are like, I don't know what to do with my child. Oh, what a reality check is that? How can you not know what to do with somebody you created yourself? And when the creator does this to us, why are we so surprised when one day he says, I don't know what to do with these children?
Mhm.
Then why do we get so this, like, because clearly there's a,
There's a mismatch of.
yeah. So Saturn just gets us to a reality check. We
Okay.
shouldn't fight him.
Okay.
We should just try to understand what he's trying to do.
Mhm. And how is the best way to understand, or in our language, how do we hack this whole process
We
of?
don't have to hack, we have to understand. We have to
Okay.
understand that he's asking you to respect yourself.
Mhm.
He's definitely asking you to respect your family, your own personal space. You don't have to every day meet gazillion people so
Mhm.
that purely you can post it on Instagram.
Mhm.
Purely, I'll tell you, some people are just dying to get invites only for that I go for 5 minutes, I post a picture so the world knows that I am really well.
Yeah, I'm active and yeah.
Yeah, I'm wanted, I'm desired, and I'm all that, because I get a lot of people who come for readings, and trust me, when I'm like, they're so vulnerable and lost, and I'm like, sorry, but your social media page just doesn't show that.
And how do you think, because I see this as a growing trend as well, we can also say that some of these social media apps or the algorithms are designed in certain ways. I've even been in conversations with some people where we've been talking about the way some social media apps are flickering light, and that flickering of light can reprogram the brain activity.
Certainly.
So when we are, defenseless against some things that we cannot even see, like, you could imagine that, okay, an algorithm might not get you. For me personally, when I would go on, I post a lot of things on YouTube and on Instagram, but I have a rule that I will, most of the times, I would never consume content, and I would only provide content. So I go onto these social media apps, I do my thing, I just post things and I get out. But there are so many times where even a strong-headed person like me will fall under the trap of that algorithm. And this is after knowing all what I know about how brain waves operate, and how, some of these light can inflict like different like brain patterns. But about 90% of the world have no idea about this. So what can we tell, or what can we like advise people when they're like getting lost in this whole social media algorithms, and they have this FOMO and jealousy, and they're always thinking like, I could be better than someone else, like comparison. Like, is there a way, is there like a hack, is there something that can turn them around or make them a bit more conscious about what they're getting
See,
themselves?
first foremost, I want people to realize that they are very powerful. We humans are the finest creation of the creator. Let's just state that fact because it's the fact. We are the only creation who has consciousness and subconsciousness. Okay. Imagine, CJ, how how far sighted or intuitive we are. We knew what is coming in 2020 on a subconscious level. That's why prior to that, a few years ago, we started having everything at our beck and call, at our doorstep through apps.
Mm-hmm.
So somewhere the soul knows where it's heading.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was lockdown even in a village or a massive city. Everybody had Amazon or,
Yeah, some app to call for food.
everything. Food le lo, dawai le lo, kapde le lo, anything, clothes, this, that, name it, cosmetic, makeup, everything.
Mm-hmm.
So somewhere we are all, the soul knows way ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
And we all humans have, we always create our life the way our soul actually is a lot aware that what we are going to head for.
Mm-hmm.
It is. So please know that there is no one in here whom we can blame for our misery, A,
Mm-hmm.
except where our soul is dragging us.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to make a bridge between your subconscious. Now, how do we do that?
Yeah.
That's the main key. Now, our subconscious, if you know, even the medical science now approves to everything, and till Harvard doesn't say yes. Of course,
Mm-hmm.
we don't believe it's yes, but now even Harvard says yes. We live 90% of our subconscious mind and only 10% of conscious mind. How sad is
Mm-hmm.
that?
Yeah.
Like, how sad is
Especially
that?
when you don't have any control over your subconscious mind.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We live 10% of consciously. Everything else, our 90% subconscious is already driving us.
Mm-hmm.
So, what you just need to do is start programming your subconsciousness,
Mm-hmm.
because that you can do with a conscious mind. You can start programming your subconsciousness, because no matter what you do, 90%
In the subconscious.
you'll be driven by
Mm-hmm.
subconscious. Now, to change your subconsciousness in your control and rewrite or do the programming and the
Mm-hmm.
rewiring, or name it whatever you want to do with it,
Mm-hmm.
the way you would like is, of course, the first thing I told you is fake it till you make it.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about that for a
Yeah.
minute.
Like, for example, if I'm unwell, I've been through my share of health problems when I was young. I was 30, I had a cardiac arrest, I went through massive heart disease, and I had heart surgeries one after the other for 1 year, and they all were failing. Like, even the doctors couldn't know what mystery is this. I swear, CJ, I started faking I'm healthy. My subconscious, like, I through all the, I mean, I won't suggest anybody to do that for sure,
Yeah.
because I have a little different
Yeah, this is no medical advice,
subconscious.
people.
Yeah. So I started hiding my medicines. I made sure I never took my SOS or medicine in front of anybody, because the minute you take tablet in front of anyone, they'll be like, are you okay? What happened? Are
Yeah.
you having? So I wanted to kind of I didn't want any sympathy, because sympathy also creates fear in you. Because if somebody will ask you, Kya hua? You're not well, then you
Yeah.
start getting scared that, are
Yeah,
you not
maybe
well
I'm not
enough?
well.
Yeah. So I mean, even if I was having my heart stress, and I have had places where I'm doing live shows, I've done TV shows, I've done millions of radio shows and everything with that problem, but I always knew I'm fine. I'm absolutely fine. I'm doing whatever I need to do. Normal. So, you just go head on with your fear. Your subconscious can throw anything from your life. It can throw any kind of insecurity. It can actually fight any kind of vulnerability. It can do anything and everything. Subconscious is your soul, and soul is so powerful. That's why in Hindu Shastra it's written, Har Atma mein Paramatma hai. Every soul has a creator. So the soul can truly, and you will be very surprised, can create anything,
Mhm.
but in a very positive way.
And
Because
that's very important to mention on this stage, because a lot of people in this world are maybe in the fear, or they're just not in that confident level, thinking that they have it in them. They're always looking for outside opinions, for some app or some mentor
some
or
validation.
someone else to come and help them out. But
Absolutely.
what Janvi is saying here, guys, is that you have the creator in you, which means you have the divine supremacy or the divine power or the magic or anything that you might want to call it in you. You don't need anyone else to come and pick you up, because you yourself can do a lot of magic for yourself.
Absolutely, no. You tell me, no. Today, how you and I are connected. I've never
Yeah.
met you. I've
No.
never even spoken to you over the
Yeah.
phone. I was traveling all the time, and I'm not you. This must be my first podcast. I've never done it,
Yeah.
and I've never done anything like this ever. I don't even go anywhere. People think I'm a little cuckoo also because I follow my soul.
Yeah.
You send me one DM, and
Yeah.
I just responded. I felt a, I felt an energy I could recognize. I couldn't recognize you consciously.
Hmm.
I don't know you at all. I didn't even know your name till I entered the door. I asked you, "What's your name?"
Yeah.
But I'm in your house without even knowing your name because I follow the energy. I got the energy and I
Hmm.
was comfortable in the through a DM.
Hmm.
So what I was trying to, when you have to start changing your subconscious for, so what you want in life, you have to start putting that, you have to start literally living that. Now once, if you're a person who constantly complains, then we can't do anything.
Hmm.
I meet a lot of people, they're constantly, I do this because somebody else does this to me, so I react like
The
that.
blame game.
Blame game. Now, so for blame game people, sorry, I'm going to honestly tell you, I think I will be of no help to you. I always
Hmm.
tell everyone, I can't be the healer to the world.
Yeah.
I'm only healer to people who are ready to evolve and want to know what they need to change in their life, not how we can change others so that they start having a better life, because that is not going to happen ever.
Mm.
Let's just get that out of our way once and for all. If you are expecting someone else to change and then you'll be happy, then there are many lives coming ahead. Let me tell you that. Because that will never
Uh,
happen. So only if you change your subconscious. Now, how you change your subconscious is, your subconscious is very, very active when you sleep
mhm.
or the first thing you wake up in the morning. You're not conscious, right? होश आने में time लगता
Yeah.
है. And when you're sleeping, you're not conscious.
Yeah.
Then you're fully under subconscious.
Yeah.
So before you sleep, you make sure of what you want to tell yourself at least 20 minutes.
20
So
minutes.
if you want to be on a karmic path, then make sure you see some karmic videos or spiritual videos, or read some spiritual books, or have phone conversations with a friend which is on those lighter notes
Mhm.
or something like that. But if you want to like for example, know how you want to heal your body, then you don't, please don't listen to news channels while you're sleeping, because you're not healing
Yeah.
ever.
Yeah.
Let's just get
Yeah.
that straight.
Definitely. I don't normally, when I talk to people, I always tell them, please do not listen to news channels at all,
At
because
all.
they're designed, again, like those algorithms, to just induce such emotions in your body that will not help you with anything.
Kalyug runs on fear. The only thing in Kalyug, the massive, the biggest demonic energy is fear.
So, just to explain to the audience, like, what is Kalyug? Is it like an era?
It's an era.
It's an era. So, people who were probably not following that conversation, Kalyug is an era, and
In
she's talking
Hinduism, it's
about
called
this
Kal Kayug. Kal Yug means dark era,
dark era.
where you read the newspaper, you switch on a news channel, and you see blood killing blood,
Hmm.
brother killing brother, father killing son, mother killing daughter.
Which most of the times is fake anyway, but yeah,
Sometimes it's real also,
yeah,
because
but
in Kalyug we know a lot of things do
mhm,
happen where people are completely, they suppress the creator in them and the devil takes over,
mhm.
and their choices. So the Kalyug is, anyway, in Hindu mythology, Kalyug is there for another literally half a million years more, so it's
Okay.
fine. Then we go into Satyug.
Now, yeah, with the AI coming in, I think it's just gonna elevate this
Uh,
Kalyug experience even more.
no, trust me, Mother Earth knows how to keep going.
Mhm.
Seriously, she's
Well,
the nurturer. She knows everything.
she's given us the power to do it all, like you mentioned.
Absolutely. No, you can
And
go back to the creator. You just fulfill your soul purpose and you're gone.
mhm,
You don't have to keep coming back to the cycle of Kalyug at all. And Kalyug is in this dimension, but the other dimensions, parallel universes, could be Satyug also.
mhm.
The
Uh,
soul can travel everywhere and anywhere. So, changing your subconscious, back to the topic, is, and when you wake up in the morning, also,
mhm,
you make sure for the first 20 minutes, you're only talking, listening good things and positive things, even if you don't mean them. You've woken up, like you've had a breakup, for example.
mhm,
When you wake up with a very bad sinking feeling. If you've had a recent breakup, I don't know when you had
mhm.
your last breakup. I'm miserable when I
Four
wake up
years
after,
ago.
yeah. So when you wake up, you're miserable
Mhm.
in the morning. You're like, why did I wake up at all?
Yeah.
Why did I have to see this day? But for those first 20 minutes, no matter the tears are rolling down your face, you just keep saying, I'm happy, I'm nice, I'm loved, I love myself. It's so fake, it'll sound mental, but
Mhm,
trust me, one day it'll become your reality.
mhm.
because the subconscious is too absorbing at those two timings. And at night when you'll sleep, the subconscious will keep mapping those wavelengths,
Mhm.
and then it'll start turning into your reality.
Very interesting.
It'll not happen overnight.
It takes a
It's
while.
a practice.
Mhm.
It is a practice.
Yeah,
you know
one of the things that was running through my mind while you were talking about this is, in science we call it the Hebb's law, which means the neurons that wire together fire together.
True.
Which, for people who are listening, means that every time you have a thought pattern or a thought initiation, whether you're saying that, okay, I'm like in Janvi's case, she was mentioning to herself that I am healthy. And what happens is this message gets picked on by the subconscious, but it also acts like an instruction manual for your cells. And what happens is when your cells constantly get a certain amount of information, whether it's your neuronal cells, whether it's your endothelial cells, epithelial cells, whatever it be, that cell is able to create a field of energy which gives instructions, whether to the heart, to the kidneys, to your, no matter what problem you have. In your case, you maybe had something to do with the heart,
Yeah.
but the human body or the human belief system is powerful enough to initiate a quantum energy which is can heal and do miracles.
Absolutely.
This is why people who cannot see can
Absolutely.
see. This is why people who aren't able to walk are suddenly able to walk, just by having that belief. And if you don't believe me, then look up any science journal and see how many times the placebo wins over the scientific drug. It's more than 60% of the time, which means that 60 or maybe 70% of the time you give a person a drug or you just make that person believe that they're okay,
Yeah.
70% of the
Sure.
times the placebo will win. And this is something that you can take from this conversation today, knowing that, okay, in the biohacking field we're relying on a lot of, mushrooms, we're relying on all these ATP generators, we're relying on all these complex things, but at the end of the day you don't really need it because you have everything inside of you to get to, whether you're looking at peak performance, whether you're looking at longevity, whether you're looking at getting in good states, whether it's relationship or if your finances or some things like that. But Janvi, one thing that also I think the audience would be very curious to know right now is if you can just in a very short way tell us, how does astrology really work? Because according to me, or what I think is, thousands of years ago,
Hmm.
there were people like, let's say, for instance, it was me and Janvi, and we were just sitting under the stars. And now we start noticing things like, the moon's moving in a certain way. She mentioned the constellations, which are just these stars. So sometimes some things move in this direction. And then over a period of 100 or maybe 1,000 years, you start thinking, oh, okay, every time this night comes, my neighbor acts very funny,
Sure.
or every time the moon moves in this position or the light reflects in this way, my wife is always giving me a hard time. And what happens is all these things then have, in Hindu mythology, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, they've been transferred into the Vedas.
Hmm.
And even before getting transferred in the Vedas, because of not having AI or because of not having machine learning, which can really look at all of these data and crunch it down within a few years, how do you think the first people sort of like understood it? Because this is way too complex for people to just look under the stars and understand. Do you think there was, like, probably, let's call spirit or other beings or aliens or some other influence that sort of channeled this information into the humans so we could evolve faster?
See, as I said, the belief that every soul has a creator in it. So we recognize the creator's creativity for
Mhm.
sure. Okay. Now, the creator has been doing creator's job for a few billion years. And we all have been through different parallel universes. The soul has traveled so much. The soul keeps unlocking and keeps, getting aware of the same thing over and over again.
Mhm.
Now, of course, when it began, first thing about, I'll tell you one thing about astrology, it's not about fortune prediction.
Yeah, it's not
Mm,
about the things that you see in Friday magazines all the time.
Nobody can predict future.
Mm. That's very important you say
Even
this
me.
because.
Like if you'll see my weekly predictions, I'm not predicting anybody's future.
Mm.
Astrology, Kabbalah, Chinese astrology, tarot, it's all about guidance. We can only guide you where you're heading and how you may behave in that particular place where you're heading for your highest good.
Yeah.
But nobody can really predict
What's going to happen in the
A, what
next
your
10 years?
behavior will be,
Hmm.
B, even if your behavior will be the best as guided, what your reward will be, I cannot predict that.
Hmm.
Because, but yes, the faith that I have, once you follow the guidance, because the universe is not unfair, it'll always give you a fair
Hmm.
result. you know like for example, if you are like, if one is in a bad planetary position, and we see a bad planetary position, then we say these are your do's and don'ts for this time frame to go.
Hmm.
But that's not your, nobody's predicting what your future is. It's your guidance. Like, if you're in a particular city, if you're in a particular place, somebody's going to CJ's house, I'll say you're entering CJ's house, you make sure there are many lights and there are many cameras and there are very this and there. I can only tell you
Yeah.
what's there in your house, and I can say, you could be like, if somebody is coming to my house, I'm sure my friends will say, oh, you're going to Janvi's house, carry your booze. You may not get booze there,
Hmm.
or probably don't carry the booze. You may offend her, and she may throw you out of her house, or
Hmm.
maybe not treat you well. Oh, either or.
Yeah.
I don't do that to people, but I'm just
Hmm.
saying.
I'll get my boost next time.
Exactly. So, what I'm trying to say is that it's just guidance of where you're heading and what are the rules of that particular zone that your planetary position is right now, and what are the rules to behave in that. Sometimes you can be very free spirited and act the way you like, change your jobs and this and that when you're in a good planetary position. But if you're not in good planetary position, we say, okay, suppress your ego. Whatever is there, do it, because the planetary position is not good. Even if you resign or leave this job, you're not going to get anything else. You'll start your business, that'll also doom, because
Mhm.
clearly if you're suffering for a reason, you're in a suffering planetary position. They might as well suffer with at least having some money coming in your
Yeah.
hand. So that's just guidance. Now, how the guidance will reward you or punish you, it all depends on what actions you'll take over your guidance, for sure.
Hmm.
Now, sometimes people tell me, Janvi, everybody doesn't go to astrologers.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean they're not living their life
Hmm.
or they're not being rewarded. No, that's true. I mean, even if you'll not come to us, planetary position is still there. No, it'll give you what it has to give you. It'll take from you what it has to take from you. And for myself also, I read planets. I read what's going to happen. But could I prevent my own cardiac arrest? No, I knew I'm heading for a health problem.
That is so interesting.
The only catchy thing and the most tricky thing in my profession is that I know what I'm heading for, and then I just have to surrender to it. Fasten my seatbelts, and I'm on the roller coaster ride. Just because I know how the roller coaster was made or how the roller coaster run doesn't mean my ride will be any different.
Okay, that is very interesting because a lot of the times, most of the people when they think about going to a jyotish or an astrologer or someone else, they always go with the fact that thinking the astrologer is going to tell them something that is going to show them an alternative path to where
Yeah,
they're heading.
yeah,
But what you're saying is that no matter what you know, you will always be headed on the same path.
absolutely. If Saturn has come no in dignity for 5 years, what are we able to do about it? From one virus to another, to Delta to Omicron, or to this that
Yeah.
that fine. वो भी time pass कर रहा है, हम भी time pass कर रहे हैं. अभी क्या करना है?
So,
But we are heading in
yeah.
it. Na, we are still in it.
Hmm.
Now the new prediction of the scientists are that the virus that will come after 6 months will have that effect and this effect and that effect.
What's your next prediction?
He's there for 5 years.
Hmm.
Surrender to him. Try to understand what he's saying. Live the life you created. You created an online life. You created a superficial life on Facebook and Instagram. Live it now.
Hmm.
Now taste your own medicine.
Hmm.
You created all this technology. Now talk to each other through technology. Zoom meetings, Instagram. Do it.
Yeah.
He's just saying taste your medicine. And he has to clean the planet. He has to also do that. No, Mother Earth also needs some relief
Hmm.
from the noise pollution, party pollution, this pollution, that pollution. FOMO is another
Yeah.
pollution only. I think FOMO should be added in a new pollution.
I'm sure because all these, all these electromagnetic waves that have been created because
Yeah,
of either fear, or anxiety, or
absolutely.
depression, also sort
Absolutely.
of, I remember that it was it HeartMath or was it Harvard? They did a study where they could see a person's electromagnetic field, like the heart's electromagnetic field, and they can tell you precisely that it goes up to 6 feet and it turns a bit on the left. So what that means is, if you and me, Janvi, are in a room and we do not know each other, if one of our emotions or one of our electromagnetic field is stronger than the others, I might not know you, might not even like look at you, but I will feel your energy.
Absolutely. It's all
And
energy.
yeah,
It's all energy. Energy cannot be created, it cannot be destroyed. It was written in the Brahma Shastra, the creative Shastra, the creator ka Shastra, Brahm Puran. I don't know how many million years ago.
and it
And
still says the
no,
same.
then nobody believed it till Einstein, few hundred years ago, said energy can't be created, energy can't be destroyed. So now everybody's believing it. Thanks to Einstein. I love that guy. So, but energy is what we have. We live in it. We can't create it, we can't destroy it. We need to know that.
Can we enhance it?
Yes, we can always protect our energy.
And how do we do that? Because I've seen a YouTube video where you have shown people how to cleanse their
Cleanse
aura.
their aura, cleanse their energy, keep yourself protected. 20 minutes of praying every day is a must.
20 minutes of
Out of
praying.
24 hours, if you have to just spend 20 minutes to protect your aura, how bad is that,
And
CJ?
is there a structure of praying? Is there,
Whatever
because
your
people
religion is,
listening to this show might be, yeah, from different cultures, different religions, different.
whatever your religion is.
Okay,
I
so
always, I am a big fan of religion. So I never tell people to be out of their religion. For
so
me,
is this
religion
connect?
is it's the seed. You're born Hindu, you're born Islamic, you're born Sikh, you're born Christian. There's a reason your soul chose that path, that gateway, that understanding, that experience. Be a people like to rebel. I like to rebel too. I'm a big rebellion, but I'm not a rebel without a cause.
Mhm.
Don't fight something you don't even understand. People want to rebel religion. First, understand the religion. पहले उसको समझ जाओ.
Hmm.
पहले उसको पढ़ तो लो. First you try to surrender to it. Understand the peace you get from it. Then
The,
you fight it.
these days, most of the people are fighting it because some of their
It's
social
fashion.
media.
No, no, bro, it's fashion.
Yeah. Okay.
Non-religion is the in thing today. It's a new black. That's all is the thing.
Hmm.
No, I'm not religious, Janvi, but I'm spiritual. Everybody is spiritual. Till you have a spirit, you're spiritual. Spiritual is what? I don't even know the concept. It's such an alien word to me. Janvi, I'm very spiritual. Till you're alive, you're spiritual. Spiritual is a spirit. The minute
Hmm.
the spirit leaves your body, you're dead.
Hmm.
So you have to be spiritual, right?
Has to come with it.
Like, I don't understand. I don't know. As I said, I'm myself quite an alien. I'm not understanding these earthly, words, and I don't understand. I think language is our biggest. It's our biggest strength and it's our biggest weakness.
Mhm.
Language made it so easy for us to, I think, explore and understand things. But I think it kind of backfired big time, where things are so misunderstood and manipulated in a way where they don't even exist.
I could see where you're going with that.
They
I've
don't even
experienced this,
exist.
and this is, if people who are listening, if you, this is hard to put in words, but you have to experience it yourself. Like,
Yeah.
sometimes these things are just out there, and it.
Yeah. Some words don't even make sense. Like, I'll tell you the word logic. Now, the word logic doesn't exist on the planet.
Yep.
How did anybody come up with the word logic? What logic? Okay, what we are going through for past 2 years. Please, somebody explain me the logic.
Mhm.
Why does one feel something for a person and doesn't feel the same thing for a person which actually ticks all the boxes? Where is the logic? It's all about energy and feeling. For the word logic also doesn't actually exist on the planet.
Do you think, when we're talking about languages, one thought has come up to my head? Do you think we are limited by language? And when I say limited, it's because there are so many things in the world that we don't have a word to describe. And a lot of the times, what happens is, when we don't have a word to describe something, it doesn't appear in our field of, let's say, you could call it field of vision, or we don't realize that that thing is there
Of
because
course.
we are just oblivious to it.
We're oblivious, and I think we are very cunning also. We humans are over smart also, right? We are too clever. Of course, we
Mhm.
have the creator's energy in us. He's created us with the subconscious. Now imagine, I mean, how language does things to you when you're in energy. Imagine if we are not talking, if we could never talk like animals.
Yeah.
Their energy talks to each other. They are never disconnected from mother nature. The cat knows what the cat needs to do organically. You train a cat or you don't train a cat. The
Yeah.
dog, the
Yeah.
fish, this bird, tiger, they organically know what to do. Like, like we, for example, I'll tell you, people talk about non-veg is very important for you, Janvi, you must eat for protein. I used to eat non-veg some once upon a time, and I left it. It was my soul calling. But completely to each one, not I mean, I cook it if my friends are coming over. I don't judge people who eat it, but I don't want to eat it.
Yeah.
My soul doesn't want to have it anymore. That's it. My soul doesn't want my body to process this anymore. So for example, people, but how do you get strength, how do you get protein, how do you get that? Now for me, I'm like, you know learn from animals. The three strongest species animals on this planet are pure vegetarians: camel, horse, and elephant. They're the most powerful. They're so strong
Gorilla.
physically. And yes, and their brain is also very sharp.
Mhm.
And they are vegetarians. So somehow we know how to, Mother Nature knows how to provide what it has to provide in our body.
Mhm.
But that's my argument. That's fine. But I'm just saying is, with language we'll tend more to manipulate and lie. But if we don't have a language, we won't be able to. The elephants can't manipulate each other to eat meat. The
Mhm.
horses can't manipulate each other to behave differently. They all organically behave the way Mother Nature designed them to behave. But we humans, because we have a language, even if they hate each other when they hug and they're like, "I love you, darling," but
Yeah.
the energy has spoken before that. That's when they don't hug each other anymore and they go separate ways. They turn around and then they swear at each other.
Mhm.
Bloody this,
Yeah.
because the energy has already spoken. Before you hug me and say, "Darling," my
Yeah.
energy has recognized your energy, and your energy also knows that I don't love you, I actually hate you, but we got to say I love you to each other. It's just,
But only the people who are sensitive to energies might catch that.
every human is sensitive to energies. We suppress it with alcohol, drugs, smoke, because subconscious goes down, right? That's why
Mhm.
there are more I love yous flying after you've had few drinks,
Okay.
because the
Interesting.
subconscious has gone corrupted.
Mhm.
Consciousness and subconscious both have gone corrupted. No, now.
So if you were, how do someone increase their sensitivity to these energies or like an energy field around them? Like let's say,
See, first of all, one needs to know that the soul is humongous. When we say, "Oh, the soul," my soul resides in my body, it's not true. Your body resides in the soul. Your body is too tiny in front of the soul.
uh-huh, I've never heard that before. Interesting.
Yeah, your body is too tiny. It's like literally 1/12 of the size.
Okay, so
Okay,
this
so
soul.
now the soul is like how I came to your house. I parked my car on the street. I said, "I'm outside." You came to the gate. So your gate is where your home started, right?
Yeah.
But your room is
Yeah.
this, or I don't know, someone else. Where we are sitting. For me right now, this is CJ's room.
Hmm.
Your energy maximum belongs here. You try to keep your room your way. Now that's your body. But the
Hmm.
soul was the gate.
Uh-huh, that's a good analogy.
Yeah. So when somebody starts to enter your, sometimes we don't say, "Oh, you know what, I go to that place and I feel very low," or
Hmm.
"I just go to that damn crazy place, but I feel very nice. The energy is very
Yeah.
good." Okay. Somebody comes to our house, we feel weird, or we go to somebody's house because the soul is 12 feet ahead of our body. It's got such a big field,
Radius.
yeah, radius. So the radius starts matching. Like your and my radius is now too close. We're sitting too
Yeah.
close. So, but the soul had started, you
Even
know
from before.
absolutely, when you maybe coming
Amazing.
down the stairs or something, because mine is 12 feet ahead. But of course, when you keep a weak soul conscious, the soul gets weak. It can go from 12 feet to 2 feet to 1 feet. Monks are the only one who reach up to 12 feet. They maintain that, or children, till you're not corrupted.
Uh-huh.
The more you lie, your soul gets weaker. Alcohol makes your soul weak. Swearing, backbiting, talking
Negative
against
thoughts.
people, negative thoughts is fine. I understand, as far as thought doesn't create karma, it's fine. You suppress your thoughts, or you polish them, or you change them. Negative thoughts will come. We are
So
humans.
sorry to interrupt you, but what did you mean by thoughts making karma?
Thoughts create karma, no? Before any
Okay.
bad karma that you have done, first the thought has come.
Okay.
Thought
So
has thought will always arrive before the karma.
so let's say a person who's, let's say this, I just wanted to make this simple for the audience. So a person finds a mobile phone on the street, or let's say a person finds a wallet on the street. Now this wallet might have like 5,000, 10,000 dirhams. The person has a choice whether to pick that up
Hmm.
and go look for the rightful owner, or he might see someone looking for it over there, or the person has a choice to pick that wallet and walk in the different direction.
Yeah.
So does this thought already make this person's karma, or just the action
See,
of picking
somewhere
it
there
up?
is a thought of taking somebody else's money. If at all you
Yes.
have taken that person's money and taken it to your house, clearly you've always had a thought process of making a life from somebody else's
Hmm.
money. Okay. But if your thought process is of like, I what I want to do with my life is my money, you will first foremost try to look for the owner around, A, or give it to a police or wherever lost and
Hmm.
founds are, or whatever it is that I found this. Or if that's also not the scenario, a person like me, if both the scenarios are not there, I'll put that money for some charitable trust,
Hmm.
which I think I would do.
Yeah.
But I would not take it home no matter what.
But what about thinking that, oh, should I do this or should I do this?
So
Just a
clearly, your
thought.
thought process has not been so clear. No, you have
Yeah.
not been quite in
So does that
conversation with yourself.
already give
So
you
that's your period of test. Like, sometimes
yeah,
we know the exams, but
yeah,
sometimes we have a surprise exam.
yeah.
So this is your surprise exam. You're not prepared for it.
Okay.
Life is exactly like, there is nothing creator is not doing. There's nothing that creator is doing with us that we are not really aware from our day to day life. What is life? Life is like an exam. You go to school every day. The teacher is there to you, guiding you every day. But on the examination day, the teacher is not helping you.
Hmm.
So we get help from the universe and the creator on our day to day basis. But the day of examination, he has to step back also. Because till he doesn't step back and we don't really prove ourselves, he's not going to promote us to another level, right?
Hmm.
You want to be promoted in life, then A, you don't cheat in the exam,
Hmm.
or you make sure you give the right
Or
answer.
you cheat and don't get
Yeah,
caught.
but that also happens. Some people you don't we
Exactly.
wonder, oh my God, that person is such a crazy person and is doing so well in life.
Yeah.
Clearly, she kept cheating, kept cheating, kept cheating. The teacher never saw it. But one good day, the teacher even sees that cheating also,
Hmm.
right? It always we never go without justice.
Okay. So justice is always in this lifetime or in
No, no, it's always served. It's a part of the creator's energy.
because we also know, like, a lot of people might be able to relate to this, that a lot of people, especially financially or like in their career, can accelerate a lot, and most of the times their intentions or thoughts or the way they take their approach might not be the best, but
Yes.
they still, you see mostly successful people and
Yep.
have this kind of an attitude.
Yep.
And then you see the people who are really working hard and they are, suffering, or they are really giving their 100%, and they're still pulled back. So why does
See, we of
universe
course we
favor?
because the soul carries its burden from many lives.
Okay.
Okay, because the soul has not had its own transformation or evolving in the past life. Like, I mean, every soul has such experiences in it. And some souls are self-punished, some souls are self-limited, some souls are, not so sincere with themselves, some have hate of love. A lot of people who actually are craving for love in their life, when I do their reading, I see that the soul has only blocked love with having the best of the face and the best of the body and the intelligence and everything. And they're like, I have women who come like, my friend's so ugly and she always has love. So where is the logic there? Is there a logic?
No,
No, there's no logic. There is no logic. Why the
because
most
maybe we cannot
educated person?
understand this logic.
Yeah,
Maybe there is, but we don't
the
have the
logic is because
capacity.
it's a soul logic.
Yeah.
The soul is like, I'm carrying, there is a lot of limitation you put, because sometimes the power of blessings. Now we come to the power of blessings and the power of curses. The
Mhm.
soul has been through some experiences, like it, for example, people have a heartbreak in this life also. The first thing they curse themselves, I'm never going to fall in love. Love is shit. Love, because of love I'm suffering so much. It's not true. You're
Mhm.
suffering because of somebody else's karma, not love. So they block love in their life. The soul is so intense at that time, it'll curse itself to never fall in love.
And do you think love is also like an energy? And once
Love is
you,
energy, money is energy, all this is money, all this is energy. Like sometimes people break up and they come and tell me, Janvi, she didn't marry me because I didn't have enough money. And because of money, I lost my love. Because of money, this happened. Now you block money. Not maybe not in this life, but next lives, because the soul is catching all this energy.
it
Soul is
comes with a
grabbing
memory.
onto it. The soul is absolutely grabbing onto every energy that you're giving to. That's why I say fake it. Make sure you keep talking positive.
Okay.
Make sure, let's at least keep this, the soul to be in a particular way for the next life. We'll see what result we'll get here,
Mhm.
you know. But keep giving soul the right instruction.
Remember, guys.
Bite your tongue. Trust me, CJ, I bite my tongue, and how, even if I talk about the person I dislike the most, I will make sure I don't speak anything bad about that person, because I don't want involved in the energy of cursing someone. Because
Hmm.
if you curse someone, you will also be a part of that energy. You're not free from it. Because then you'll also have to be in that person's life, see if the curse was served or not, in this life or in next life. And if I dislike some person, why would I ever want to be in that energy?
Hmm.
So bite your tongue. One should be very positive. Like I tell mothers also, talk positive. They'll always, the way they want to tell their children, Acha, you're doing this now when something bad will happen, then you will realize my value.
Yeah.
They don't understand the power. They don't know the power of the mother's tongue. The journey begins from the womb. They don't realize what they have said. And sure enough, the child will go through something.
Hmm.
And what is value of this I mean, even if the child starts valuing you, what is the worth of it? You've also suffered. When your child has suffered, you've also suffered.
You're
It
just
was not
repeating
a
the
happy
cycle.
experience. And now if the child is valuing you because the child went through something, how does it even solve the purpose? What
Hmm.
happiness will it give you?
Hmm. Very interesting.
I would never want my child to suffer and then value me. Never.
Hmm.
Might as well never value me. But value me for truly if I'm worthy of it. And with a lot of happiness, with a lot of abundance in your life, when you have everything in your life and you still want your mother to be in your life, or if your father to be in your life, that means you're worth it. But if you have nothing and then you want them in your life, then where is the victory here?
Yeah.
Where is the
There's
victory?
something for something.
How petty can we get?
Mm. Now, talking about abundance, a lot of people who are listening to this show might have this question in their mind. Now, knowing all that you knew about Vedic astrology, about everything that you just mentioned, how do you think, what are one of the quickest ways, let's say for, I know we cannot jump too much into the future, but like a general rule of thumb for people to get like better finances or more abundance? Someone who's listening to the show, is there something that they can do, or a way they can, like, use
Absolutely.
something?
Absolutely.
We can go over a few quick things, like, I would say like the major problems in the world, or like the major concerns in the world, would be abundance, love, could be career, could be just emotions. So if you could just give us a few
See,
tricks.
first, I'll tell you, for abundance actually has everything in it. When you have an abundant life, means you're healthy, you have joy, you have love. Because if you don't have any love or money, you will not feel
Mhm.
joyous. So, abundance is actually, it covers everything, actually, in a hindsight. But where you want to attract money, first of all, you need to have a very healthy relationship with money. Okay. Uh, like I very unapologetically, since I was a very little girl, I always say I love money.
Hmm.
you know so when I was little, I would be teased, and people were, she's very money minded, she's very greedy, and I'm not greedy at all, but I love money.
You're just inviting the energy of
No, but I
money.
love money, and money loves me back. It's as simple as that. Now, if how I behave with that money, that is something people can judge. If I act greedy, if I act stingy, if I steal money and make money,
Mhm.
that is something to be judged. But how many times you must have heard people saying, you know what, I don't care about money.
Mhm.
It's so not true.
And I often find that a lot of people who say that they don't care
Because they
about
have a lot of
money,
it.
and money also sometimes, either they have a lot of it, but they're always extreme situations, because either people will have a lot of it, or either they're like subconsciously blocking the
True,
energy of money into their
true,
life, and they're like,
true,
I don't have so much money, but I don't even care about
true.
it.
So in that case, when even if people who are very rich, who have cash flow, massive cash flow, and still when they say, you know what, Johnny, I don't care about money. I have no this. I don't value money. What is money? Love hona
Maybe
chahiye.
money cares
But
about them.
uske baad bhi no. Uske baad bhi, no matter what money they have, they don't have the quality of life, because money is in your life from through your past karmic
Oh, okay.
rewards. Money
Mhm.
is the biggest energy on this planet, because this is the only planet which runs on money. We should never ever deny that energy.
Mhm.
Okay. So I tell you, I have a lot of billionaires coming to me. Trust me, the quality of life is supremely poor.
Interesting.
Supremely poor.
Okay.
The
Oh,
quality comes with the richness of how you embrace the energy in your life.
also, for people who are listening, I forgot to mention this earlier, but Janvi also consults with a lot of celebrities, billionaires, even people who, there are some people who might be wondering to come within like 500 meters of their distance. Janvi has personally met a lot of these celebrities, and she kind of consults for them. So when she's saying something like this is something that you should pay attention to, because most of the times people think that, oh, a person is a celebrity or like a sports person or someone with a lot of money, their life must be so much better, their planets must be so much better. But I really wanted to know from
No, but
you.
read the facts. The highest suicidal rate is in rich people. Why? Why? These are the
Be-
facts.
well, I am
Why
not.
maximum depression pills are taken by rich people? Because rich people also go through their emotions. Because, as I said, everything is energy. If the energy is not right, no matter what you have and you don't have, it will not matter. If your
Mhm,
energy towards money is not right,
mhm,
money can't buy you happiness. If you have good energy towards money, no matter if it's 20 or 20 million, the joy will come. You need to put the right energy, na?
mhm,
If I'm not putting the right energy towards you, CJ, what is the point? Now, our show, whether it's watched by 2 people or 2 million people, whoever watches it is should get that energy, should get that impact, and that's what's important.
mhm.
Whoever is seeking for this guidance today will anyway get it.
Find it way.
That should not be greed.
Mhm,
Now, I'm ambitious for work. I'm not greedy for how many hours. I have done live shows, trust me, where I've had thousands of viewers also. And trust me, one lady, an influencer in Dubai, wanted me to do this, but she was a food influencer. So her
mhm,
followers were clearly not interested what we chatted.
mhm,
She wanted to do she wanted to do a show with me every Saturday. Trust me, we used to have how many viewers? Two, three. I did it for 3 months. Every Saturday, I didn't care. Because those three people actually came every Saturday to hear it.
mhm.
But if sometime I'll have thousands of viewers also with someone, and if I don't feel the energy is right, I will not do it. It's all about the energy.
And you're saying everyone is sensitive to energies.
Yes.
They just
So,
suppress
yeah.
it.
So, I'm not from a rich family. My father was a service class man. Okay. But I've always loved money.
Yeah.
Trust me. So, somehow when I started my work, I have only attracted people who could very easily afford me.
Mhm,
Because I love money and I've always excelled myself in what I'm doing
mhm,
so that I can charge what I need to charge.
mhm. And the universe brings to
Yeah,
you only
because
the
I love
people.
money. So I'm like, what is the problem? I'm not going to steal from someone.
Mhm.
I'm not going to lie to make money. I'm going to give the best service to charge that much. Like
So,
sometimes people always judge us like, Janvi, but astrology should be free. It's a noble work. It should be free. Okay, feeding someone should be free. So why restaurants are charging?
yeah,
Treating someone should be free. I mean, it's very noble also. Why hospitals are charging? I mean, why do people put these labels on
I think.
everyone? I never understand, but it's anyway. Everything, even I don't need to
Mhm,
understand. I'm also a little brain damaged by
mhm.
birth. So my brain can also take like very little
Some
of,
breaks.
trust me, a lot of it I can't even take. I'm supreme. I mean, if people may think I'm intelligent, but I'm not that smart. I'm not intelligent. I just talk what my soul knows from many lives. It just organically comes. Otherwise, I can go pretty blank where general knowledge and IQ is concerned, because it's not my interest. I don't crave for it.
Mhm,
It's fine. So when you want to attract anything in your life, you need to have the right energy towards it. You want love in your life, you need to have the right attitude for love. If you want to love someone so that you can control that person's life, trust me, you'll be seeking love all your life.
mhm.
You need to have the right energy to get love. And if you'll have to, I promise you, will learn to love yourself before you can actually hold on to true love in your life.
Mhm.
अगर आप अपने साथ नहीं रह सकते, you know, when people say, Janvi, I need someone because I can't live alone.
I need someone to
No, no,
talk
but if
to,
you
someone to
can't live with
be.
your own self, why are you expecting someone else will be able to live with you? It's just pure mathematics. I'm just talking calculation.
Hmm,
CJ, can you live with yourself?
I can.
That is the point.
Also, one of the
Then
thoughts.
someone will right person. You will also, then your soul will also seek with that for that person who can live with herself or himself or whatever. I'm
Hmm,
sorry, I have not asked your priorities yet.
yeah, herself.
Yeah, good. Oh, whatever, it's fine. So you will also seek for that person, and you won't settle for less.
Mhm,
You won't, because you are quite, as people say, oh, meet my better half. If you are half, you will always be with half. So be a
mhm.
complete person and look for a better complete person.
Mhm,
Two complete people can only make a complete life.
mhm.
Half and half will always be half and half.
Yeah, and that's a very interesting point to look and love yourself first.
Change your energy towards everything that you want. love, money, health पे भी अच्छी energy डालो.
Mhm.
Put energy. People curse their bodies. I have a very bad health, Janvi. My the body is always against me. They
Yeah,
talk such bad things. How the
yeah,
poor
yeah,
body
yeah,
will listen to you?
yeah.
Trust me, I have gone through so much physical problems, but I totally believe my body is like the best thing. The kind of things I was born with a heart condition. I had many problems in my brain as a child. Many. I've had many injuries. I've been through in and out of hospitals my entire childhood. But psychics have that journey. It's fine. But I'm very thankful to my body because I think it just kind of dodges every damn thing.
Mhm.
Everything that comes my way fails in front of my body. So my way of seeing things is opposite. You have to see it differently.
Mhm.
You have to see it differently. Like you're
Exactly.
in Dubai, where the weather is so extreme, the heat is so extreme.
Mhm.
But you have to see positive that you can have an air conditioner. But if you're constantly cursing the heat and you're constantly abusing the 45-degree temperature and 46, now that's never going to change. But
Mhm.
the fact is what you can provide to yourself. And I think my body can actually has the capability to dodge death. I mean, I had a cardiac arrest for crying out loud.
Mhm.
So why will I curse my body? I'll actually give it more appreciation and I'll say,
Mhm.
bravo. I mean,
Good work.
good work. You're a defective body, but you work better than any soldier can.
Mhm. Is it also because your soul is so strong with in line with its own purpose that it wants to
How is
be?
my soul strong? You tell me now. So the creator is he's very equal, right? He's fair. He won't
Mhm.
be unfair. Clearly, I've done a lot of work on my subconscious in many lives.
Yeah, that's what I
So
was
at
saying.
least one can begin now.
Mhm. And then over a period of
Yeah, I'm
lifetimes, you
still
can.
working on my soul on many things. I'm not perfect in anything. There are a lot of things I'm quite vulnerable at. I have
Mhm.
my weaknesses. I have my shortcomings. Trust me, I'm far from being a saint. But
Mhm.
I'm still working on them. Na? I'm my favorite critic. Before somebody else criticizes me, I criticize myself. Whatever I go through, every tear that rolls down my cheek, I never need to know who did what that I'm crying. I always lock myself and I'm like, where did I go wrong? How did I invite this in my life? If I'm crying today, what and where I left my emotion vulnerable that this came my way.
So it's always looking at a looking from the lens of how these things, like, how can you learn from these things? There
Because
can
in my
always be a
control
learning
is
path.
only me. If today you're hurting me, you're not in my control. If you like to hurt me, you'll continue to hurt me, bro.
But do you think control is also an illusion? Because a
It's
lot
an
of
illusion.
people, a lot of people might think, like you mentioned before, Maya illusion.
Yeah.
People might think, oh, you know what, I can study for this exam, or I can pack my bags and or to get ready for a flight early, or I can, let's say, set up all this tech to have a interview with Janvi. This is us preparing, which is a good thing, but we often confuse all of these preparations with having the illusion of control. So we might think
True.
that we have a control over something, but
That's
then
why we
suddenly
don't want to be in control. I don't think you and I have actually looked how many followers we have right now. I don't want to have that control. We have told people that we are doing this live. We are going to do podcast. We are free from control. Actually, we could be having zero followers also or viewers also right now. The fact of the matter is that probably you're supposed to hear this, I'm supposed to hear this, and
we are in
we're in
alignment
the
with what the
energy right now.
universe.
The energy decided us to do this. We are doing it.
Mhm.
It's a nice celeb feeling. I like this. So I'm going to enjoy my moment.
Yeah,
Now, how many people will going to be in it or not going to be? That's not in my control.
but at the point, I think we are also at this in line with this, that we don't even care,
We don't care
because
because we
whether
don't
it
want to
be
control.
one or whether it be 10 or 200 or whatever 2000, the people who need to hear this information, maybe not live right now, but like sometime in the distant future, the universe will conspire to have this
If
information
the
to them.
universe has decided to give them this guidance today, even if the person who would not be seeking for your and my page will accidentally go on that and listen to it,
So then this brings me
there are
to
no
another
coincidences here.
so this brings me to another question: destiny or free will?
Or destiny, always.
Always.
I'm a huge Destiny fan, and I'm a Destiny's child.
Hmm.
I am a huge Destiny fan. Like huge. I'm so glad there is Destiny because if it was only free will, trust me, we were like.
So
I'm so okay. What is Corona? What is this? 7.5 billion people in one thing.
mhm,
Destiny took over all of us.
yeah,
Hello. And nothing is today we are going through this now. But I'll tell you in a few years, we will be like, this is required. Everything
mhm,
is required. Now, people are like, Janvi, I remember it was very interesting. I met somebody many years ago. I met someone and they're like, हमें समझ में नहीं आता. What does this happen on this planet? I mean, they were dinosaurs 65 million
mhm,
years ago.
mhm,
65 million years ago. I mean, so crazy to even fathom that.
yeah,
So why? What were they doing? They were only dinosaurs and they extinct. I mean, a creator ko, to understand creator, we don't even have like a molecule of consciousness to
yeah,
understand him.
yeah,
You know how many paleontologist jobs are there? He created a creature 65 million years ago and is extinct also. 65 million years ago, it got
yeah,
extinct. So I don't know when it was
yeah,
created. And we still are making money out of it and eating our food.
yeah. Jurassic Park still sells a lot.
Jurassic Park, so many museums, paleontologists,
Yeah,
so many people who are going and still looking for fossils everywhere. I mean, it's nothing for a no reason. If you and I are required on the planet, so is an ant, so is an elephant. We all are in the cycle. You're my bread, I'm your bread, and that's where we are running. I mean, don't think anything is here ever happening. So it's all destiny.
everything is
Enjoy
destiny.
the destiny. That's the most beautiful part of the destiny. It has written the whole story. Why are you trying? We only get burnt out when we are trying to change the damn story. Enjoy the story, don't judge it. Don't put any negative thoughts in what creator has already written for you. Just get evolved from it, learn from it, become a better conscious subconscious creature. Don't try to take control over it. It's not going to happen.
I think that is, thank you, Janvi, for saying that. That is extremely valuable for anyone who's listening because, like Janvi mentioned, the problems start when you try to control over things and when you're, agitated and you're not doing things correctly. But the moment you let loose and you sort of enjoy your
Enjoy the ride, na?
experience, I think, most of the suffering first happens in your head because you always start thinking, oh, what's going to happen if this will, you make scenarios and there's not even like, you don't even come to a certain reality, but you're already imagining different parts of reality in your head. And that suffering, trust me, from just a thought process to stress hormones to like other things,
Anxiety,
anxiety,
depression.
so many things are self inflicted. And if you could just learn to, I think more people are anxious about what is about to come tomorrow or in the future, or people are just so upset in what's going on with their past. This dance of past or future, this duality that
Hmm.
people live in most of the times, sort of like destroy their present state of being. And
Absolutely.
what Janvi also said in the beginning of the show is one of the things that you have to do is to stay present, because when you're in this present moment, when we're right now, I'm talking to Janvi, I'm talking to everyone who's listening. I am not in the past and I'm not in the future. I'm here right now and everything else just moves away.
Absolutely.
So I know it's very easy to say and it's very hard to do.
No, it's actually easy to do and
Is
hard
it?
to say. Everything what we are doing is easy. Nothing is difficult. We feel
Mhm.
we've reached the moon here.
Yeah.
We've had satellites and cameras on the Mars. Come on, give some credit to yourself, people. Give
Okay,
some
so it
credit to
is easy.
yourself. You can't come over a heartbreak or some financial sometimes struggles. Give some credit to yourself. You've got bloody cameras on Mars.
The universe will take care of
The
you,
rocket
everyone.
takes 11 months to reach there, as far as whatever knowledge
Mhm.
I have right now. Give some credit to yourself. You're huge. Your soul is humongous. The power is, it's, you can't imagine.
Amazing.
Go
Thank
through a
you.
heartbreak. Go through sometimes some ailments. I mean, physics. I mean, when in my example only, when I went through the heart disease, also, I remember a friend who came to me and she visited me in the hospital and she was so shaken up because, as I said, I'm the child of destiny. Huge fan of religion, so I've been religious also. In people's words, spiritual also.
Hmm.
So, spiritual, religious, name it, whatever it is. I'm huge fan of God and His work. So she came to me and she visited me in the hospital and she's like, you know what, this has shaken my entire belief system,
Hmm.
because she entered ICCU with me under I don't know how many wires and how many monitors. She's like, this has shaken my entire belief system on God, on universe, on whatever crap you talk, Janvi. But I am like,
Hmm.
If this can happen to you, then what's
What's left?
happening? Now, I swear at that time, CJ, I totally forgot I was sick,
Yeah.
because my soul creeped out of my body, and it was like my whole purpose is to take people closer to the Creator. And if one person is absolutely snapping out of it, like, I just felt so heavy on my soul. I felt the burden.
Hmm.
And I'm like, okay, I just literally got up and I sat. And I'm like, listen to me now. Just sit down. Listen to me now. This is an experience I chose for a reason. I will know it in a few years. God, I'm a guide. A guide always goes through something before you have to guide that to others in a few years or a few months. There is, and every experience comes to me for a reason. Because after that, I'll meet people who would want the same guidance. But till I've not experienced it, I can't guide them.
Hmm.
It's pure
Yes. And a lot of, I believe a
common
lot of
sense.
people who have been gifted, like either they're
No, they have to
gifted
go
or
through
they
all
have to
of
go
it.
through
They
all of
have
these.
to.
Yeah.
Because then how will I guide you?
Mhm.
How will I guide you? If I have not understood the pain, I can't release you from the pain.
Mhm.
Okay. So, I said, and when being an astrologer, being a healer, every day I get up, I pray to God. What do I pray for? Abundance, success, growth. It's my birthright
Mhm.
to ask,
Yeah.
right? So, when I'm asking for success, am I not indirectly asking for you to suffer? Well, why else will you come to me?
Mm.
So, if a doctor who is literally studied for 10 years can't pray to get some patients, so
Mm.
why can't I be his bread? If there's
Yeah.
so many my bread,
Yeah.
I also have to be somebody's bread,
To
right?
continue the cycle of life.
Absolutely. So what does the creator's got to do with that? How is this his business? He's like, okay, I'm just supposed to grant your wishes. What about the doctor's wish?
Mhm.
What about his family who invested so much money and time to make him a doctor and a cardiologist or a surgeon? Then what? Like, you are untouchable? Why? Why should you get a special treatment?
Mhm. Interesting.
So I just, at that time, I felt I have to snap her out of this immediately. Otherwise, I that would have killed me. If not the cardiac arrest, that would have definitely killed me. So what I'm trying to just say is, have a positive energy towards everything, even if at that time you're not feeling it.
Mhm.
Trust me, I was 1 year. I swear, CJ, I went so psycho in my head, but not outside. Nobody would know what I'm going through inside. I would talk to you. I'll see anybody. I'll be on the streets, bazaars. I'll go everywhere because I had a little son. My son was very little that time. He was just 7 years. I would see everyone with those eyes. You don't have that. You don't have arrhythmia. You don't have a topic. You don't have a heart disease. Why can't I have your heart? Why couldn't I have this? It was constantly going on in my head. Constantly. Till I could shift that energy. You have to first understand what you're going through before you make a change in it. So go to that deepest, darkest place in you. Even if you're attracted to light and we have to go towards light, but we cannot ignore the dark.
Mhm.
We understand the dark. That's when we desire to go towards light. So understand that weakness. And I remember there was one day I did break down in front of my father, and I told my father, I'm jealous of everybody who is healthy. I'm really jealous. I'm not meeting anybody for over a year who could say they have this heart disease. Why am I only having this? Nobody else is having it. But that was my dark place, and I had no problem addressing it so that I could pull the light in that dark place. You have to know that.
Mhm.
And I still do. The work is still in progress every day. Understand and realize that dark space in you. Sometimes people help you. My son helps me a lot. I have a lot of anxiety since I'm born. Because psychics are also born very, they have a, because you get so many energies. As a child, I didn't know why I was getting those energies and those intuitions and those visions, and that's when anxiety started dwelling inside my
Mhm.
body. So my son, sometimes in a very loving way or sometimes in a very aggressive way, forces me to fight that. Then you have to allow people also to tell you where you are having your shortcomings. Don't be touchy about everything. You can't evolve otherwise.
Just let go and go with the
Yeah,
experience.
but if you have a lot of people who criticize you a lot, then please let them go. That I will tell you, let them go, because there's a fine line
There's
between
a
having honest
those
opinion and people just criticizing you for everything. There's a
so,
fine line.
so those are the energy vampires that are around.
Trust me, so many of them.
Amazing. Janvi, we've almost come to the end of this show, and I could be talking to you for hours and hours. Maybe we have to do a part
We'll
two
do
to
more. We'll do
this.
more. I'll be
But
very keen. 22 is coming.
mhm,
Chinese astrology is changing on the 1st of February. We're
okay,
going to get into a tiger year, which is going to be very refreshing for the planet
okay,
because we were in two metal years. We had metal rat, and then this year was a metal ox. That's why the
mhm,
infection was so high because we were in two metal years. But we're going to go into the water tiger now on the 1st February. The water will wash off a lot of things, and tiger will very aggressively attack corona. I'm very positive about that. It'll
mhm,
at least get us a very aggressiveness, and we'll all be very aggressive towards it,
mhm,
whether we have to wear the mask or whether we have to follow the protocol or fight it. Whatever it will be, we will be far more aggressive than what we have been in this last 2 years. We will be now, humans will claim their planet back
mhm,
because Saturn will finish his 2.5 years on 22nd of April.
mhm,
The next 2.5 years, where he'll be again dignified, we're gonna claim our planet back with him from him because he has to give our planet back to us the way we want in 2025. So the journey will begin. Everything will begin in 2022.
mhm.
It's the most amazing year.
Amazing.
You know.
I would love to see that. And I forgot what you told me. I was a goat in the Chinese
You
astrology.
are, see, you're a January, end of January. So we'll have to check if you are a horse or a goat because Chinese astrology changes anytime from the third week of January till the second week of February.
Mhm.
So I'm going to check if you are a metal horse or a metal goat. You're either
Okay,
or.
so there are two versions, like a normal horse and a metal horse.
There's no normal horse. There are five
Okay,
different elements. Like there's water, metal, wood, fire, and air. So
okay.
so
So it's just
yeah. So 1990 and 1991 both are metal years.
okay.
Okay. So if you were before the Chinese New Year, then you're horse. But if you're after the New Year, then you are a goat.
Goat.
I mean, either or, both are very dignified. Both are spiritually very powerful. Their spirits are very, very powerful. But I mean, as we finish the podcast, I'm definitely going to look which year are you falling under.
Yeah.
But but you know what? Both are very sacrificing. Also, not. I mean, goats are the highest sacrificing, but even horse will always allow the jockey on top of it.
Hmm.
So they both can become sometimes be pushovers
Hmm.
easily, and but we'll see. I mean, you're into fitness and all that stuff, so both are like that. I mean, horses love fitness.
Okay.
They all do.
Well,
So we'll have to see where
we'll
which you
see
are.
it post this
Yeah.
podcast, and I'll keep the
Yeah,
viewers
but
updated.
numerology, you're very strong. You're 2 and 7. You're number nine. Nine is a planet of Mars. Mars is a lot of strength, a lot of attraction, a lot of charm. Then made of 2 and 7. Seven is a number of spirituality. So you make nine out of number of religion and spirituality, some deeper sense because seven is the number, cosmos number. So you have all
Uh-huh.
that. And once we finish the podcast, we'll definitely.
We'll go into this with detail.
Yes.
And for my last question, Janvi, if you had a time machine, and I know you can probably rewind back in time and go through multiple lives, but let's say for this life, if you had a time machine, and if you could rewind time and go back and give yourself, your younger self, a piece of advice, what would that be? And this doesn't have to be, in astrology or numerology. It could be anything. It could be about parenting. It could be about wealth. It could be about, anything, studies,
Hmm.
anything. But what would be that one piece of advice that you would love to go back and give yourself?
Uh, if I have to go back, I'm not going to go that further back
Hmm.
because I'm pretty happy with a few mistakes or a few decisions that I took. Even I'm pretty okay with my heart disease that came along. I would just go back up to 2011.
Hmm.
Okay, that was my year, rabbit year. I'm a rabbit year born, and it was a very intense year for me because I'm a wood rabbit, and that was a metal rabbit, and metal always cuts the wood
Uh-huh.
very aggressively. So even if the metal is not cutting, you go cut yourself. You put yourself under the axe because the wood
Interesting.
is that time so attracted to the metal. So I would definitely want to go back to 2011 and relive it.
Hmm.
And
Would you
probably
change some things
I'd like to
or
cut some.
okay?
I would you like to use the ox and cut a few experiences that I wrote for myself at that time. And that time also pretty aware of those experiences. I still remember I was telling a friend, I'm heading for this, and I this is the most crazy thing I'm going to do in my life. This will help me evolve. It'll take me towards salvation, but it's too painful what I'm going for.
Uh-huh.
So maybe I'll go and change that
Change
episode
that. Okay.
and not seek for that self punishment. Would change that thought process of mine that I have to go through this pain for salvation. I would love to change that and just get salvation through pure happiness and joy.
Okay. So you don't have to suffer to go through salvation. Like
Not
you
at
have
all.
to go through happiness and joy, and all of those positive energies will take you where you want to go. Janvi, thank you so much for being on this show. We definitely have to do a part two because we can keep on talking all the time, but I know a lot of people have to go. So thank you for joining me
Thank you
today.
for having me over.
I deeply appreciate all the things that
You're
you've
most
done,
welcome.
and thanks for coming here. And this is me, CJ, your host, signing off the Shift with CJ podcast. Everyone, have a great day, a week, a month, a lifetime ahead of you. Take care. Thank you, Janvi.
Bye bye. See you.